This week, we brought on Draven Williams to talk some NBA. He's going to break that down in extreme detail. There's some storylines going on there that Redden and I didn't even know about. Look at this guy.
Hammer! Whoa, close! Oh my God, I should pop off on your ass about the coat.
We beat family!
Come on, you're telling me. One sec.
Iowa State is going to win this game!
Now I'm a bromsexual and
Go broad.
Welcome to this week's episode of Marvel on Air. Today is Thursday, November 21st, 2024, and things are about to heat up. Yes, I said that correctly. There are 4 professional leagues in which things are getting interesting. That is for sure. And we are what you would call what? Sports heads? I think that's a fair way to put that. And then obviously the boys and I will dive into the NFL and the playoff picture that is going on in the college football landscape, as well as our weekly Zero to Heroes. That being said, don't forget to stick around after Draven's interview for our, let's put it as interesting takes. Ladies and gentlemen, here is Draven Williams. Ladies and gentlemen, joining us now is one of the absolute greatest basketball players to come out of our high school, that is Williamsburg, Iowa. With 3 buzzer beaters under his belt, one with only 0.3 seconds to go, and on his official resume, quote, used to be able to windmill dunk, this legend at Clash Royale is our resident NBA expert. I couldn't be more excited to dive into everything NBA today. Who is Mr. Draven Williams, sir? How are we doing on this fine Tuesday evening? We're filming this a little bit in advance, so maybe if the standings change between now and Thursday when this episode airs, we apologize because there are so many games in the NBA. How are you, sir, though, before we get into that?
I'm fantastic, man. I'm just ready to talk some ball. Been excited.
Hey, it's pretty easy when we're just hanging out talking ball.
Yeah.
Nothing better. That's all you can ask for, baby.
This is the best. So I'll say this before we get into it. Same thing for those of you that watched the Gabe interview. I am leading this with almost absolutely no idea what is going on in the NBA. I just don't understand it, to be honest. I'm looking at these standings, and I'm like, is 15-0 good? I don't know. I would assume, it's better to win than to lose. So, Draven, when you go about these answers, not only for the viewers, explain it like we are, like 5, but also myself. Okay, I need to understand what's going on in the NBA world. I'll start with the Cavaliers at 15-0. There, you can honestly go into the whole Eastern Conference if you'd like, but is 15-0 good? The Celtics are 3 losses, defending champions.
Yes.
What are we looking at here as an Eastern Conference?
Well, from what I've seen in the Eastern Conference this year, starting off with Cleveland, 15-0 is really tough. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm super surprised. I'm surprised that they haven't lost a game yet, but I'm not surprised that they're number 1 in the standings. They've had these pieces on the team for the past 3 years. They just haven't been healthy all at the same time. And once they put all these pieces together, you now see the results, and that is apparently 15-0. So that's really going to Cavaliers there. I think they're going to keep it up, and they're going to make a late push in late season. As for the rest of the Eastern Conference goes, of course you got Boston. They're going to make it back. Orlando Magic in 3rd. I knew they were going to – the Orlando Magic. I knew they were going to get a spot. Not necessarily a secured playoff spot, but at least play-in. But they're at 3rd in the East right now. All these surprising teams that are up there in the East right now, due to the fact because the Bucks – it's a dumpster fire. Yeah. Philadelphia, it's a dumpster fire. You're not going to really get a whole lot of production when you have Darvin Ham and who else does he have? Oh, Doc Rivers is the head coach there at the Bucks. And the Sixers, I really have no words. I have no idea what's going on there, and I don't think anybody on this planet does. So that's why I believe Orlando's up there. You see teams like Atlanta in the mix. You didn't think they were going to be early season, but yeah, the East is looking spicy. I'm excited to see what goes on there.
Yeah, so I think the 76ers is a great place for us to touch on because, us being an NFL podcast and a big football, just in general podcast, get a lot of football stuff on my timeline, for sure. But I will say today, some basketball snuck its way in there. Apparently, Tyrese Maxey is like a dude calling out Joel Embiid for being late for everything. That's kind of crazy because of how much Embiid has done for the city. What's going on over there? They're 2-11. Obviously, he's not doing enough. I don't know what to make of this.
I mean, let's rewind here.
Okay, let's go back.
What has Joel Embiid done for the city besides give them a first or second exit in the playoffs? First or second round exit in the playoffs.
Hey, you know what?
Absolutely
Obviously,
nothing.
He doesn't trust the process. That's what it is. Dre does not trust the process.
I never will. And the start of the season is exactly why. He's not playing games that I think he should be playing. He hasn't really taken accountability for his actions. I saw he made a comment about all the stuff he's done for the city of Philadelphia, and that all this hate needs to stop. Dude, suit up your fucking Nikes and play, or whatever the fuck he wears. Under Armour, I think that's what it is.
Only me.
Yeah, I think it's Under Armour. He's signed with Under Armour, but that's besides the point. He needs to lace him up and get out on the court. Tyrese Maxey has been shouldering the load all season until he's been banged up a little bit, but I mean, he's gotten close to a couple 50-point games already this season. Tyrese Maxey, he's their guy for sure. They need to build around him in the future. I just think a lot of attitude needs to change on that 76ers team for them to
go.
Rising. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting.
When you got a princess like Joel Embiid on the team.
Well, and we don't need to necessarily touch on load management because it's such a – everybody talks about it, you know? And I think it's pretty agreed upon that everybody hates that the best players are sitting. But, man, that's just crazy. Like Tyrese – what's Tyrese Maxey, second year in the league?
No, he's fourth, I want to say.
So it's his team now. I mean, he's no longer kind of pushing his boundaries.
And, I mean, you also got Paul George on that team this year, first year 76er.
Oh.
He was banged up earlier, but he's been back playing. Hasn't really done jack.
So what's the issue with Philly here? Because they've had this whole process idea. They've been building and building and building, trying to do it through the draft. And now it seems like they've kind of hitched their wagon to a horse in Joel Embiid that he doesn't seem to quite have the leadership skills that you need out of your superstar, doesn't seem to quite have the work ethic you need out of your superstar. Who is to blame for this whole thing? Seemingly now finally we're starting to see like, okay, there's a real issue in Philadelphia. Yeah. Is it, the front office, coaching? Joel Embiid himself obviously has a role to play in this, but you also got a point, I would think a little bit to the people enabling this. So what's the issue in Philly?
Yeah, it's honestly a little bit everything. It's not just one person causing this issue in Philly. Joel Embiid, he's never been – him and the fans have never had a really good connection, and I just feel like that kind of dwindles his attitude down a little bit, and that's a factor of him not playing a lot of games. He just doesn't seem like he cares at all. As for the front office and coaching staff, they haven't done anything to really change the direction they want to take their program. They just got done with the James Harden stint, who is a pretty damn good player, an ISO player. They go on this season to sign a just as old Paul George, who's also an ISO player. They haven't really made any significant changes. Tyrese Maxey's been their biggest with picking him up in the draft. And I will say, Jared McCain, their rookie this year, is looking promising. TikTok boy.
I remember him now.
Yeah, he has looked good. Now. I've seen some clips.
He's looking promising. I think he's at 20 points per game. He's my current pick for rookie of the year, based on how things are going. So that's an upside for Philly right there. Is they got a young star, I believe, in Jared McCain.
Is trading Embiid an option? Because it feels like the Sixers should have an idea of what they have with him now, and that's somebody who really talented guy, but just doesn't seem to quite. He's more. It feels like he is what people accuse Jokic of being, where it's like he just wants to play the regular season, Is it time for the Sixers, they can still get some value out of this, maybe before the entire league is like, oh, what's going on here? We don't want this guy. Yeah. Is now a time that the Sixers could look at trading him and trying to get some value out of it?
I wouldn't say like now. I would say it wouldn't be it would be a possibility later on in the season. Of course, this is all speculation. We're going to have to see how much he plays, how well they end up doing. If he makes another playoff push, which I do not see happening, I'd say you keep him around and keep trying to see what you can sauce up there in Philly. But if they don't make the playoffs, if they make a play-in and lose in that play-in, I think they look to, extend their options and get Embiid out of there somewhere where he's going to be happy, and pick up some pieces for them. If it's not draft picks, then, another superstar player. But I don't think any team in the league is ever going to be like, yeah, I won't take Joel Embiid,
Interesting. Dude, he's like 900 years old.
For all the hate that he gets, and, you can touch on injuries. He's still a dog, You get to him in the paint, there's nobody who's going to stop him. I'm not the biggest Joel Embiid fan, but I watched his Olympics this summer, and he got it down in the paint, unstoppable every time. Like, there's only 2 or 3 players in the league who can do that every time they touch the ball in the paint. So I don't see a team not necessarily like saying, no, I don't want him on my team. But the 76ers, they definitely need to figure something out this season if they want.
So what does a successful season look like in the NBA? In NFL, we know this is just kind of like very broad. Yeah. In the NFL, it's like, okay, if a coach makes the playoffs, they're probably not getting fired. They're probably going to look to try to build on what they have. If a team doesn't make the playoffs, then you see more roster changes seem to happen. Is it the same way in the NBA where teams are hesitant to make moves if they make the playoff? Or is, it's got to be like the conference finals. Otherwise, teams are more than willing to offload some people.
I don't know if you guys remember Kawhi Leonard's championship in Toronto there. Head coach is fired later that season, like after that season.
That's crazy.
They win a chip and they get – so it is so unpredictable in the league. I'd say a successful season is – me personally, I'd say it's making the playoffs. Not a play-in spot, but the playoffs. Top 6 teams on your side of on the U.S. there. That's a successful season. Play-in, iffy. You got to win. You got to win in the play-in.
So
that's
what as an NFL snob, if you will, close off this 76ers with this. I'm gonna make a take here, and I want you to tell me if I'm right or wrong. 76ers are the NBA's version of the New York Jets.
Yep.
What do you mean?
It kind of feels like it.
Everything we said just up until this point is exactly that.
Like this season, Dallas Cowboys. This particular season is Dallas. Dallas is always pretty damn good until they get to the playoffs. This is how the 76ers have been for the past couple of years. This season, they both suck. Bad.
I couldn't have said it better. Yeah, I mean, I guess that, when you look at it at that level, that is fair. Okay, so that's some of the Eastern Conference breakdown. I will say really quickly before we kind of jump into the Western Conference, I'm looking at these standings. The one thing that does make sense to me is the Hawks at 7-8. You know what? They'll win their next game, then they'll lose, then they'll win, then they'll lose, then they'll win, loss. They are the most consistent. It's actually kind of nuts. I'm a big fan of them just because I like seeing them sit right at that 500 mark.
It is crazy that they're in 5th and below 500.
Yeah. Well,
that seems odd.
That's what I'm saying. The NBA, does not make sense to me. I just don't.
The West.
But then you look at the West, and there's not a team below 500 until you get to 12th.
Yeah. Yeah, no, 100%.
So is that true? Is it that the West is just that much more dominant than the East, or is it the top side of the East beating up on the bottom side?
I'll say other than the Celtics last year, it was it didn't matter who was coming out of the West, right? There was one team coming out of the East, and they were better than everybody else, from what I understood.
I think so. That one team in the Celtics is definitely better than everybody else. I think any team in the playoffs last year in the West would have beat any other team in the East besides the Celtics there.
That's crazy.
I think the West is just that much better.
Wow. So speaking on the West, perfect. It's where we're at. Bronny James, we got to go here first. Redden obviously has made the claim, and I believe he is correct in the fact that Bronny James does control the weather.
Yes.
But I will also ask, why is he only playing home G League games? What's the deal with this? They don't want him to get jet lag for when he comes up to the real league? I don't understand that. That's kind of crazy.
I'm just as puzzled as you guys are there. I did see he was suited up for an away NBA game not too long ago. So maybe they're taking him on the road with them. this season. I've never seen. I mean, of course, I've never really followed any G League players as closely. This is LeBron James' son, so I'm not too familiar with how they, jump back and forth. I know you get NBA contracts and G League contracts and all that jazz, but I don't know what his exactly entails. But it is very confusing that he's only playing home games with his G League squad in the South Bay Lakers. I think in order for him to get as much experience as possible, you'd want him to play as much as possible at that level. Maybe he can be a consistent role player, but
is it safe to say that the Bronny James kind of experiment or the razzle dazzle of this guy is going to be incredible is over? Because I mean, he's in the G League putting up like 2 to 3 points on like 10 shots, and it's not even close to being good in the G League. Is it safe to say people are finally admitting like, okay, yeah, maybe there's some nepotism going on here?
Well, I sure hope so, because I mean, if you can't, I'm the biggest LeBron James fan. You guys probably know, but I'm not going to sit back here and say just because he's my GOAT's son makes him a GOAT as well. He's not NBA ready. I don't think he will be. And I just think it was a special moment, between it was a historical moment, and I think that's all it's going to end up being.
Well, it's interesting. They said, or there's, I don't even know who said it, to be honest, but somebody was saying they think LeBron will actually stick around for another year, maybe 2, just because Bronny is there, and he's not even going to be playing potentially like that. He's not good. He's just not. Would you want to see LeBron stick around for a guy who's not even playing? That's kind of crazy.
Well, I will say this: his other son Bryce is a senior in high school this year, so if he does stick around for that another 1 or 2 years, he might get a shot at playing with his other son too.
Bro, what if they get 3?
That's what they're going for.
I think he's got some potential. I think Bryce has got some potential.
I think Bryce is better than Bronny. I think that's fair.
I think he will be. Not at the moment. He's still at high school. Bronny's been getting all this NBA exposure, but I think once Bryce gets to that college level and then into that NBA level, I think he's going to be able to make some noise in the league.
Lakers at 9-4 making the playoffs?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Interesting.
I don't see them sitting at 3 in that Western Conference that entire season. But I don't see them getting into a play-in situation either. I think they make the playoffs near that bottom 6 or 5 spot. Nikola Jokic has only played 10 games this season. The Nuggets are still sitting there at 6. So, that's my take on that. I think the Golden State Warriors now.
Okay. Let me ask you before we get to that. I want to know first. We asked Gabe the same question. Timeline. What are we looking at here? When do games get important? Because games in baseball don't get important until what? Game 7 of the World Series.
Right around there.
When does basketball become relevant? Obviously, March, huge for college ball. But what are we looking in June? What is this?
It's always important to finish strong leading into that All-Star break.
Okay.
From what I've seen, which is usually February, so late February. So it's real important to finish strong. You come out the gate strong, because you see a lot of teams after that All-Star break, if they haven't played for a while or they're not on their normal consistent schedule, teams go downhill fast after that break. So it's very important to finish that right before that break there, and you'll come on strong leading into the end of the season.
Okay, so great. I like that. That gives me at least something to know where we're going to be at here. For the Warriors, you brought him up. No Klay Thompson this year, but was a pretty sick revenge game. I mean, that was pretty sick. What are we making of the Warriors right now?
I really like what they got going on. Steph Curry's inevitable. My pick at 6th man of the year right now, Buddy Hield, coming off the bench.
Dog.
He's these first few games, he's definitely filled the shoes of Klay Thompson, and it doesn't look like the Warriors have skipped a beat losing Klay. They got a really young core there too. So yeah, I'm like again, big LeBron fan here, but I respect the hell out of Curry, and
especially after what he did in the Olympics. That was sick.
I'm gonna root for one of the GOATs for our game always is Steph Curry. So I like what they got going on there at Golden State.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we saw the Warriors did what they did in the mid-2010s, and then they won again in 2022, I believe. And it's like, where did this come from? We thought that whole run they had was dead. Are we once again seeing the Warriors kind of reinvent themselves, always around that nucleus of Steph Curry? And they still have Draymond, obviously, who I'm a huge fan of. I know other people aren't.
I'm sure you
I
are.
think he's like great leader and has really been a glue guy for that dynasty. Underrated player, in my opinion.
Agreed.
Do the Warriors have a realistic, like, outside chance, or are they even the contender that people are talking about? Like, just where are these Warriors right now?
Well, I think they have a really good chance of making the playoffs too, just like the Lakers do. I feel the same about these two teams. I feel like they're super close in talent. I don't see them winning another title. Not
with Curry there, or like ever.
This iteration of the Warriors.
Now this generation. I think that dynasty is over.
Okay.
I think
you think Curry won his last ring?
I think Curry. Oh, I'm not going to say that.
I wouldn't say it.
This era,
I wouldn't either.
I'm
crazy.
He gets in the playoffs. He can, like, if he's just on for that month, it's just over.
See ya.
It's over. But you also got the Oklahoma City Thunder, who I don't see
so
this
young,
season, especially once Chet comes back healthy. I don't see anybody stopping them in the postseason.
Really?
No. They're my lock on the winning the Western side this season. Shea is a solid player. They're just so good defensively. If you watch one of their games, they are so good defensively. They're going to make it tough for players like Curry, to get those shots off. So, and Curry will get them. He's always going to get his, but it's just not enough.
Sometimes you just got to let Curry be Curry. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Speaking on one player, before we kind of go to basketball as a whole, I do have a question about that. Victor Wembanyama, or Yana, I don't know, is it M or A?
I think you nailed it.
I think it's an N.
Wembanyama.
Oh, M. Okay, and Victor Wembanyama, out of obviously San Antonio, turned a lot of heads last year. It was by far my favorite player to watch outside of Curry. What do we make of him? Is he going to have a sophomore slump? Is he back? I don't know is he good this year? I don't know.
He's my defensive player of the year lock. He's currently leading. He's leading by 12 blocks. The next closest person is 12 blocks behind him this season. He's already had a 9-block game, a 7-block game. He'll get that defensive player of the year.
He had 9 blocks in a game. Oh my God.
Yep.
I knew he was unreal, but
career 50-point game. And he's got a veteran there in Chris Paul. So throwing him lobs. He didn't have that last season.
Get me hyped up, dude.
Chris Paul is top 4 in the league this year in assists.
Dude, he's always going to be. I mean, he's done.
But he's never going to win.
That's true. He wasn't good. He wasn't good last year, or what?
Chris Paul, he wasn't a good fit with that Warrior squad last season.
Oh, I forgot he was with the Warriors. Yeah,
didn't make sense.
Yeah, no,
2 point guards.
I remember when he went there, I was like, "Oh my God, they're gonna win the chip," and then I literally never heard anything after he went there. That was it.
But I mean, you're one of the greatest point guards of all time, and you got a 7'4" alien on your team. Yeah, you're gonna be top 4 in the league in assists. But that's just like Wemby didn't have those passes last year. It was
actually pretty rough.
It was rough. Yeah. The Spurs are sitting right in there. I think they're at 10.
They are currently at 12, which is pretty much the same thing as 10, if you ask me.
That'd be like
the West,
3rd in the East.
Yeah.
For real.
Actually, no, that's a good point.
It's constant back and forth there in the West. I'm the only confident team I could say, like I already said, is Oklahoma. I'm not confident about any other team there.
Interesting.
I know Utah is not going to do shit. Utah is bad.
Yeah, that is actually. I was gonna go big picture here, but that's that one in the Bucks. Very surprising. I mean, that's kind of
Utah's flag hunting right now. They want Cooper Flag. They're in a rebuild.
Is Cooper good? I thought I saw some things that he was like choking games real bad.
It was like one game.
I thought he choked like 15 games in a row. Is what I saw.
No,
so he's good then. He's back.
Oh yeah, he's solid. That flag I think he had turned the ball over twice in the last minute it was a close game against the ranked team, so that was a little worrisome. But I mean, first year college ball, it's a whole different level at the D1 level. He'll get a lot better. And
maybe he's better against NBA talent. We saw him tearing up the Olympic team, and so maybe he's like actually not used to how slow college is. You know, he's actually more ready for the NBA than he is for college basketball.
I think college defense is way more intense than an NBA defense.
Oh yeah,
personally,
for sure. Yeah.
You just got a lot more athleticism on the NBA side, but you catch guys sleeping and taking naps all the time. Like, You'll never see that in college. I mean, you see it maybe once or twice a game. I probably see it 20, 30 times in an NBA game.
Yeah, no. So speaking on the entire game as a whole, I don't know what happened today, but a couple of NBA stats came across my timeline. That's why I was like, hey, we're going to have to talk some NBA here if this is heating up enough to get onto my timeline. And this one, you know, up until this point, we've kind of been with the monocle, whatever this thing is, the uni-binocular. Then we go to binoculars. We're a little more zoomed out, okay? Then we go to the what is that over there? Then we go to normal vision, and then we go to satellite vision. Let's look at the entire league that is professional basketball. We don't even have to look at 1 year in particular. Let's go ahead and take a look at 8 years of NBA basketball. Let's throw it all the way back to 2015. In the 2015-16 season, this is per WTF stats on Twitter and Instagram. The Warriors led the NBA with 31.6 three-point attempts a game. They were changing the game at that point. Nobody had seen that many three-point attempts in how long is an NBA game? 60 minutes? I don't know, 48 minutes, something 48. Like that. Now, this season, the Raptors are actually in last in the NBA in three-point attempts per game with 31. So only averaging 0.6 less. That's not even a full attempt less. And they go from what would be first or second in 2015 to now dead last. How has Steph Curry changed the game? How has this affected the entire league as a whole? And I mean, James Harden was talking about it. No one's ever going to break Steph Curry's record. I actually kind of think, looking at these numbers, if they're going to be throwing up that many, like, somebody's going to have to be consistently good enough over a long career to beat him, I would have to think, right?
Real quick, shout out James Harden, becoming second all time in three-pointers made. Ray Allen. That was dope. But yeah, the three ball, man, it has really changed the game. You're not going to get a whole lot of roster spots if you can't shoot the three ball.
Even Wembanyama.
Yeah, there's maybe 5 true big men in the league right now, and I can only name one of them in Zach Edey. The rest, like, no names. Like, you don't know who they are.
Right.
Everybody can shoot. Everybody has to shoot. As to why, I don't know. Maybe they just thought the three ball was cool.
Oh, but do you know the stat on it? This is like the stat that people always say. Do you know what it is, the numbers wise? If you go 33% from three, you'll score more points than if you go 50% from two. So if you shoot 1 for 2, that's only 2 points. If you shoot 1 for 3, that's 3 points. So if you average that out and you shoot like the percentage wise, you don't need to shoot as well from 3, which you won't because you're further away. But that is like that analytics lean that we saw. We see it all the time in the NFL right now, especially with going for 2 and fourth downs. Is the NBA leaning more analytically then? I mean, obviously that right there would help the argument that they are. But is that kind of where the league is going?
Yeah, I mean, obviously you've seen so many players that never used to be able to shoot the 3. Just start letting them fly. Karl Anthony Towns was not the best 3-point shooter coming in the league. Yeah. Ended up winning a 3-point competition, later in his career. A lot of big men have had Andre Drummond.
He's the first big man I thought of.
Threes. He's out there shooting 3-point shots.
It's crazy.
They've had to develop the 3 ball with these guys so much. I like it, but at the same time I don't. I know I like seeing the classic, smash mouth action down the paint, dream shake, sky hook. Those are sweet moves.
Oh yeah.
But you just need that 3 ball to win in today's game with all the talent and athleticism. You got to shoot it. You got to shoot it a lot.
So you're saying there's more value in an ability to be proficient in your mind, not what the analytics are saying.
Yeah.
In the paint.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Personally.
Reason I asked that is, remember when I hit that little turnaround jumper over you in the paint? That's all I'm saying. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, I think that's all we needed to hear. Yeah, it went straight to the moon. I think touched the flag up there and came back. And so maybe I should be hosting the NBA portions. That's kind of crazy, though. I just can't. I cannot believe this stat, how much the league has changed.
It kind of feels like, honestly, like driving into the lane is like, to put it into football terms, is the same way as like teams are still running the ball, even though that's not their highest yards per play. Where in the NBA, you kind of need to drive still to be able to set up some of those shots. Am I correct in that, Dre?
And in football, they run the ball knowing it's not their best play to set up things for the play action.
Correct.
Basketball, you're doing the same thing. You want to be proficient in that mid-range, that dribble drive. You can get a step on a guy. They're going to give you a step. They're going to take a step back, and then you're shooting over him all day, all game. So that's why
kicks too.
Yeah, driving kicks too. That's why it's super important to be able to have that two ball in your arsenal, that dribble drive, that explosiveness, to be able to free up a little bit of space for you on that perimeter and shoot some three balls.
Gotcha. Okay, so we have 2 questions left. I'll bring mine, and then Red will close us out. If you could build the perfect NBA player right now, I think this is a better question for the NBA because the NBA is so fluid. It doesn't really seem like there's any positions anymore. Like we got 7, 8 guys draining threes, and then everybody can do it from everywhere basically. What would your perfect player be? Like shooting, vision, obviously height or maybe size, just in general. Where are we going? Are we going a little bit of Tyrese Maxey in him?
I'm taking height right off the bat at Victor Wembanyama. Can't go wrong with that. 7'4". Vision, I like you said that. The GOAT himself, LeBron James.
I was thinking Chris Paul.
No, you gotta watch LeBron James passing highlight, man. It'll change your life. I promise you.
Now we know he's a LeBron fan.
I'm gonna take Curry shooting, greatest shooter of all time. Ball handle, give me Kyrie Irving.
Gotta be Kyrie. Yep, gotta be.
Yep. Defense. You got the 7'4" length. I don't need a shot blocker. I want somebody who's sticking perimeter D. Give me Drew Holiday. Drew Holiday,
dog.
Best perimeter defender I think I've ever watched play basketball in my life.
By far. And I don't like watch a lot of basketball, so honestly when I'm watching I'm kind of like, was that good? I don't even know what that really just happened. If they're not scoring, then I don't know really what's good or not. And you watch his D, you're like, his defense, that is, you're like, whoa. That is game changing. Like he's actually,
it's game changing. It is insane. But yeah, did I cover?
What about like athleticism?
Yeah. What about shoe size too?
Give me a shoe size 16.
Okay. That seems correct. Yeah, I wouldn't go with that big because obviously we know KD and the 3-point ball there. I wouldn't have gone that big. I would have gone like a 3 or a 4. More. I mean, you just get more room on the line. Okay, and then you got, what'd you say?
Athleticism.
Russell Westbrook.
Prime Russell. Yeah, I'm gonna take it all day. Prime Westbrook. Yeah, I'll take that.
We're not playing all team though. My bad. I just forgot.
Yeah. What about right?
I wasn't.
Now?
I was.
Yeah. Right now in the league, athletics. Oh yeah, give me Anthony Edwards easily.
Oh, that makes sense.
What about Anthony Edwards or Ja Morant athleticism? Because Ja just seems to jump over the backboard every time.
Ja's got like crackhead kid athleticism. Like it's weird.
That's the term you're going to use there.
I don't even know how to explain it, man. It's just like
he'll fight a kid, dude. He will.
Yeah.
No, Ja is actually nuts though. He's got springs for legs.
Literally, it doesn't even look like he's trying. Like, he's just floating.
Yeah, it's like he has gravity on 0.5, and everybody else is like, it's nuts. Okay, so
strong though. He is strong. If you see him fly down the court running full speed, he is super fast. I'm not saying Ja isn't either, but if Ja Morant was coming at me down the lane and Anthony Edwards coming down me at the lane trying to dunk the basketball, and I had to choose one to try to stop, I'm going to choose Ja because Anthony Edwards is going to break my ribs.
That's a fair point. That is a fair point. I think with that concoction, if you were to build, a Frankenstein, I think you'd probably lose to him 19-21 in a game of 21. I think that's a fair assessment. That's obviously why you are our NBA resident expert. Dre, before we let you go, we obviously appreciate your time. Red has one final question for you.
One last question. We're going to make you make a prediction here like we like to do with some of our guests. Give me your Eastern Conference Final winner in how many games, Western Conference Final in how many games, Finals winner in how many games?
Eastern Conference Final winner. I like the way the Cavs are playing right now, but I can't say no to the Celtics. You know, they're really good. They're going to be good for a long time.
We've said it before. If your coach is an absolute psychopath,
I love Missoula.
I know, like he's crazy.
He's crazy. I love it though. How many games they win that?
Yeah, and against 2.
Yeah. I mean, let's just lay out the whole playoff picture too.
All right, yeah, against 2. Cleveland keeps it up. I'd like to see Cleveland there.
Okay.
I'd like to see Cleveland there, and they'll win it in 6. It'll be a good series.
Okay. We like that.
They won't let it get to Game 7. I don't think that'll happen. Western side, I've already said I got OKC.
Yep.
I'm my Western Conference Finals. This is tough. Who are they going to play? It is so stacked. We haven't even talked about the Phoenix Suns and Kevin Durant and D-Book over there. You can't sleep on KD. He's been putting together an MVP caliber season as well. But with the way they're playing right now, without Nikola Jokic, they had some early bumps, but they're still 6th in the standings, and he hasn't been playing. So give me the Nuggets meeting the Thunder in the Western Conference Finals. Thunder winning that in 5. Ooh. It won't be close.
Okay, so we've got Celtics over the Cavs. Mm-hmm. And then that's the East. And then we've got the Thunder over the Nugs.
Yep.
Now we've got our finals. What's going on here?
Thunder Celts. What do we think?
That's got to be good.
Celts. It's going to Game 7.
Oh, that'd be
late.
Good.
Kristaps isn't even playing right now for the Celtics. You're going to have a Chet Kristaps match. And this is all if everybody stays healthy, of course, which I sure hope so. But you'll have a Chet Kristaps matchup, which is going to be insane. That's going to be awesome. They're just so stacked, both teams, defensively, offensively. They have weapons everywhere across the board. Alex Caruso is a big piece for that Thunder team this year. He's going to be able to help them stick even more defense than they were able to last year, even though they're a top defensive team in the league. I think it's going to go to Game 7. I think it's going to be one of the better finals we've seen in recent years. But I do think the Celtics take it again. Jason Tatum silences the haters once and for all.
I don't know, dude. I think he's got negative aura forever after that last after. It was hard to watch.
That was rough. But I mean, you can't call him a bad player. That was just a little cringy.
No, yeah, he played out of his mind for sure. But we did it.
He's just not cool.
Yeah, I don't know if he can silence the haters. He's good.
He's not going to
very good ball player.
He's not going to silence the trolls, but the haters who hate on his game, the ball knowers, they'll be silenced. Because I know a couple of them who just hate Jason Tatum. Why?
He did go to Duke, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't help him at all.
Fan. I'm a UNC fan, and I root for Jason Tatum, man. He's a good ball player.
I think it's the jaw, the face, whatever that whole thing is. I don't think that helps his case. So JT, if you're seeing this, maybe we go Bear, maybe we go full beard. Full beard JT probably would score 50 points on average.
He's also dating Ella May. I don't know if you guys know who that is.
Sounds like a woman.
She's a R&B singer.
Okay, so she is a girl then.
Yeah,
that helps his case, I'd say.
Yes,
with the general public, we don't have any quarrels either way, but. But with the trolls who he's fighting, I mean,
it's not helping his case because a lot of these people, they like Ella May.
Oh shoot! So he couldn't even. Yikes! That's why I said negative credit just forever.
Yeah, people aren't liking the Jason Tatum's with Ella May. Not that they have a shot with her anyway, but again, it's the trolls. It's just the trolling. But a lot of reasons to be hating on Jason Tatum. A lot of lame reasons. I don't understand it. I think his game speaks That's all that needs to be said about it. I mean, he hasn't really caused any commotion outside the league other than being kind of lame. But yeah, that's about it. But yeah, all in all, Celtics, they'll win Game 7. It'll be awesome. Yeah, it's my take right there.
That would be good for the NBA.
Oh yeah. That would be an unreal final. That would be so fun. Cavs Thunder, I think, would be kind of like a Lions Texans Super Bowl, and like that it's two young teams.
They're very young, yeah.
But I do think Celtics. Yeah, I think that'd be a really good matchup.
Yeah.
When we start doing our NBA picks, it's just gonna be like, this is a Missoula game for me.
Yeah.
He's a psycho.
That'll be coming down the pipe, as is Draven returning to the program, to talk, some NBA finals. Everyone wants to know what I would do if we didn't have Draven Williams on. I guess we'll never know.
Guess we'll never know.
Draven, we appreciate the hell out of you getting us pointed in the right direction for the NBA and really putting everyone on who is going to win it all this year. I don't think your pick is that far off. I think that's a fair assessment. Any last words for the viewers out there? I'll let you go here.
Go Raiders. Go Lakers. I love you, LeBron James.
Ladies and gentlemen, Draven Williams. Okay, so Draven's interview was certainly an interesting one in that we had a bit more chemistry, so things were a little bit slowed down. I'm glad you're still here. We have a lot of football to break down. We've been talking a lot of basketball at this point, and it's not exactly what Redden and I would call our specialty. I don't think anybody else in the quad box wearing the Pit Vipers there. Hunter, and then Chase obviously wearing... I mean, I appreciate that it is all Iowa from the state of Iowa standpoint, but the Iowa sweatshirt I don't love. I don't think either of them would qualify themselves to be basketball experts either. So we appreciate Draven for coming on, but I could not be more ready to talk football in general. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time. Here we go. Let's dive right into the college football playoff picture. And things are certainly heating up. Iowa State is back in the picture. Red, can you break down everything that we're looking at here? Obviously, BYU on the brink of maybe not making the playoff at all. What is the biggest storyline out of this recent edition?
Yeah, obviously we have another set of college football playoff rankings out now, so we'll get into that a little bit later on. We saw, for these last few weeks, we've been saying it on here, we're going to see teams get narrowed down just because of the nature of the 12-team playoff. There's more games now. That conversation of who should be in gets extended from those top 4 to 6, 7 teams. Now we're looking at, 12 to 18 teams potentially. So now we're starting to learn a little bit more just as the season's progressed. Colorado's came on here late in the Big 12. They're looking like they could make a push. But the Big 12 has found themselves in an interesting spot just because right now, if you look at what the seedings would be, BYU is the only Big 12 team in, and they come in at the 12 seed. So that's something that, we always were talking about, it's the 4 Power 4 winners and then the Group 5 winner. That is not actually the case. It is the highest ranked conference champions. Correct. So in this instance, Boise State is ranked higher than BYU. Therefore, Boise State, even though they're ranked 12th, becomes the 4 seed as the 4th best conference champion in terms of record and rankings and stuff like that. So the Big 12 kind of is in a little bit of a predicament just because BYU right now is sitting at the 12 seed. That's their only team. Colorado's kind of in there in the mix just because they only have 1 conference loss. Iowa State and Arizona State are sitting at 2 conference losses right now, so they're still vying for that playoff spot, but it's going to be tough. For the Big 12, it's probably you're going to have to win the Big 12.
Agreed, and I think that's that's the most interesting conference right now. There is conversation going on, which I find to be crazy. Go ahead, Hunter.
The SEC seems like a shootout to me. I mean, me and Redbone had a little conversation while we were trying to enjoy our chicken and waffles. But before the chicken and waffles came out, we were talking about how many SEC teams are going to get into this college football playoff with the 12-team, regimen. Who's getting in, who's getting out. I would like to think of this as like a perfect debate point that you could drop at the Thanksgiving table rather than talking about the election that happened 2 weeks ago. So if anybody brings up, Trump or Harris, why don't we just mediate that instantly and be like, is Bama getting in? I'm just putting that out there.
I'm just going to say, weren't you just a really big fan of the election? You were a big fan of everyone coming together over that.
Yeah, no, I was. But now I think it might cause havoc when you get with your relatives who might not share the same viewpoint. And it's almost guaranteed that your relatives don't share the same viewpoint about college football. So
I would have to agree. It seems that nobody seems to be on the same page, and I think that's a perfect segue to talk about the Big Ten versus the SEC. I think it's very interesting because it seems that the SEC has been dominant in the college football landscape for basically forever. And I don't think many people have argued that point. But when you look at the SEC this year versus the Big Ten, really outside of Indiana, because Indiana does have a very weak strength of schedule, the Big Ten might be better than the SEC. Chase, I'll turn to you. Chase, I'll turn to you as an Iowa fan. Your thoughts on that take? Because realistically, it's not impossible.
It's not impossible. It might be improbable.
Okay.
I don't know if they're better. I think it's pretty level this year, actually. I'd say that the Big Ten has like the top two. Penn State kind of has like a weaker schedule as well. They don't have really a big win yet. And then, of course, Indiana doesn't have a big win either. We get to see them face off against Ohio State this week, which will be a pretty big game. I'd like to see them keep it close, just so at least keep it close, if not win it, just so then they can kind of solidify themselves as this top 4 team in the Big Ten and possibly see themselves making it their way into the college football playoff. But obviously, Oregon being undefeated is pretty impressive. Big win over Ohio State. Ohio State's probably right there with them. I think they're a top 4 team in the nation, both teams. Obviously, they're 1-2 right now. But Ohio State can't receive a bye due to the 4 conference winners getting the bye. But I think it's pretty even.
No, so here's what I'll do. I'll have Red, you kind of pull up some of the biggest games this week, and obviously BYU, Arizona State's going to be huge. And then obviously, the Big Ten and the SEC have big games as well. So we're not saying that any conference necessarily doesn't have a big game. I'll say that much, but I'm going to walk you through the slideshow. This is where I got that take from. Okay, this is elite college football and all college football. They posted this together. I don't understand how Instagram works now, but it is what it is. This is all credit goes to them. If they're going to copyright claim us, we're going to sue them back. I'm going to walk through the slideshow. There has been lots of arguing between the SEC and the Big Ten Conference. Lots of people are calling out the SEC for playing FCS teams in November. I think that's a valid claim. Word on the street is the SEC is overrated and the Big Ten is the best. That is per Twitter, where at WB Rick says Indiana and Penn State simply couldn't handle the grind of playing Mercer at home in November. And a retweet to Barstool Bama that said, I don't know why Kirby's getting hate for this. Would love to see Indiana or Penn State play an SEC schedule. And then they bring up some scores here. Miami beat Florida, SEC school, right?
Yes.
Florida is, yes.
Yes, correct.
Weaker.
Cal
Bottom
beat
tier.
Auburn.
Yep.
Another, okay.
Shit
Arizona
school.
State beat Mississippi State.
Yep.
Okay, that's Big 12
Dog.
over SEC.
Mississippi.
The bottom of the SEC.
I think it's not Buffalo, but I don't know who that is. Memphis maybe beat Vanderbilt 36-32. The scores on that you can check right now if you're doubting. I don't know who exactly that logo is. I'm a little bit fuzzy right now. Then we've got USC, over LSU. That's a Big Ten over a SEC there. Notre Dame beat Texas A&M. That's independent over SEC. And then OSU, which is the fact that they won a game this year is insane, over Arkansas 39-31 early in the season, of course, but still a win nonetheless. And I think that's a perfect example.
That's the only win that's valid there. All the other ones are bottom 4 teams in the SEC. And if you know anything about Vanderbilt in the past 20 years, you know that Vanderbilt is probably one of the shittiest teams in college football, except for this year. If you beat, Mississippi State is the Vanderbilt of this year. So beating Mississippi State and claiming an SEC win is so fraudulent. And I don't know what that guy on Twitter is smoking, but I got to hook up with his plug and get his supply because this is outrageous.
Well, I'll say this much. So you're talking bottom what, 4 you said? Bottom 4, bottom 5? Kansas.
Those were all bottom 5, yeah.
If Kansas does not win this last weekend, they are 2-5, and they are bottom 5 in the Big 12. But who'd they beat?
Who did Kansas beat?
Yeah.
Did you say Auburn?
No, this last weekend, didn't Kansas beat BYU?
Yeah.
Oh.
And where was BYU in standings?
That's just the BYU.
Oh, BYU's
that's
at the top. That's right. Okay, so I think it's interesting that maybe the bottom of the Big 12 isn't exactly as bad maybe as we thought. Not that this is a Big 12 argument in its own right, but I'm just saying maybe there is some more depth to these conferences than the SEC has, and I think that's a fair argument. Obviously, the top is going to be the top in every conference. I think the Big 12 is a lot more narrow, right? So the top of the top is not as good, and the bottom of the bottom is not as bad. I think that's a fair assessment. The SEC and the Big 10 currently duking it out. Do you have a few of those big games this weekend here, Red? Obviously, BYU, Arizona State going to be a big one.
Yeah, no, there's a couple big ones. BYU, Arizona State, like you said. Indiana and Ohio State play this week. That's 2 versus 5. And then the other one that's going to be interesting to pay attention to is going to be Army Notre Dame. Not as much from Army's side of things, even though they are undefeated. But Notre Dame, this is a game that they could potentially lose. Army is not a bad team. It would be awesome if Notre Dame lost this, because then hopefully that means we can just cross them off the list. Yeah. We don't even need to worry about them anymore.
100%.
I love our troops, but the Catholics are in juggernaut status right now, and I think that they're going to whoop Army. And also, I think Indiana's fraudulent, like you said, easiest team in easiest schedule in the entire FBS. Ohio State's going to whoop them by like 21. This would be a great bet for the alternative spread.
Let me add something here. Yeah. First off, we're going to start to see exactly, this is the first time we've had a 12-team ranking for the playoff system. So this is going to be the first time we're going to see the committee is it more BCS style, where your record matters more so? Are they going to put more weight behind records? Or are they going to take the more SEC line of thinking, where the SEC, what they want to do, and what's worked in the past, which I don't necessarily think is true, is they have been more talented top to bottom than every other conference. With the transfer portal and NIL, there's a lot more parity across the sport, just because now a guy who would have been a backup at Alabama is like, hey, what if I went to Vanderbilt and was a starter and got paid a little extra more money? So we're seeing a lot more parity, but what the SEC wants to argue is that if Indiana and Alabama played right now at a neutral site, what do you think the spread would be? I think most people would say that's going to be Bama,
48.
6+, maybe even all the way up to 12 points. So they're like, well, so obviously Alabama's better. The thing is, the game is played on the field.
Right.
Betting lines who would be favored don't matter. Mm-hmm. If you want to win your games. Indiana has done that. And here's the other thing. Indiana is not a blue blood in football. There's three teams right now who I think are just hiding in plain sight, to steal a line from a guy I heard talking about it earlier, hiding in plain sight. Texas has beat nobody. Penn State has beat nobody. Notre Dame beat an A&M team that's been like weird
and who
all
they
year.
Lose to.
And who exactly knows what that all means. So Indiana's resume, undefeated and blowing teams out, to me, who cares if they're Indiana versus, Texas?
Right.
Texas's best win is Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
Penn State's best win, I think, is like Illinois. So it's not like these guys have an incredible resume either, but just because they're Penn State and Texas, people don't think to look into, why are these guys ranked top 6 or 7? Yeah. They just assume, it's Penn State and Texas. That's where they deserve to be. But when people see Indiana, they go, that's wrong. Let's dive into that. Even though their resume is better than Penn State and Texas.
I think it's all about wins. Yeah, I think that's totally fair. I think it's all about wins. It's not about
completely
points.
Contradictory to what you just said.
Yeah, just what?
What the hell do you mean? I think since this is the first
year.
They're
11-0.
Since this is the first year for the 12-team playoff, we're going to start, Indiana will get in, right? And then they're probably going to get blown out by an SEC team. So we're going to see, a lot of 65-7s, a lot of TCU Georgia scores here in the first round. And then this will be the last time that we see a college football playoff that doesn't have maybe 5 SEC teams in it. I'm just saying that since this is the first year, they're letting everybody in. It's just a free ticket in. If you have more than 10 wins and you're doing good in your conference, you're in.
I think the biggest game this weekend definitely is Indiana, Ohio State. Just as
right?
Unless Arizona State
blown out,
because then that makes things. That's a doomsday scenario for the Big 12, because the Big 12 is currently looking at a scenario where they could potentially not have a team in.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Which would be incredible.
It would be that's insane. But I just think from a gauging standpoint, obviously, standings wise, I think the ASU BYU game is probably bigger. But looking at how good is Indiana, this is a perfect marker on, are they good or not? Do they lose by a score? Do they get blown out of the water? I think if they get blown out of the water by Ohio State, it's not a question anymore. It's they're good because they have a good record. It's no longer about.
But here's the thing. So say Indiana loses to Ohio State, which a lot of teams, and there's wild theories about what Indiana should do for that game. Some people are saying throw it, which is just wild. But if Indiana loses to Ohio State would have one loss in the Big Ten, but have the tiebreaker over both Penn State and Indiana. So then they would play Oregon again in the Big Ten Conference Championship game. Outcome of that game isn't probably really going to matter because both teams are going to be top 4. Both teams will still be in between Oregon and Ohio State. But is the committee really going to say it's a 12-team playoff now? The shining argument for the expanded playoff was Florida State last year. If Indiana has one loss to potentially a Big Ten championship winning team in Ohio State, are they out just because they're Indiana? Where if that was an Alabama or a Penn State or a Michigan who was a one-loss team who didn't make the conference championship game, they would 100% be in. Yeah. So I don't think Indiana has too much to really worry about here because I do think that they will probably get in one way or the other.
That's kind of crazy. You touched on it earlier. Just a little bit on players in general, and I think this is a great time to bring up the Matt Rule comments. Are you familiar?
Which ones? There's been a lot.
About the transfer portal and with the reduction in team size.
Oh, yeah, he's pushing for there to be a change just in that because of the walk-on programs.
Right, so the walk-ons are going to potentially see a bit of a hit here. I threw out a comment on Instagram, if you're not following _show, what are you doing? But it was just kind of like, well, walk-ons have kind of been, I don't want to say obsolete, but a majority of programs from what I hear are not taking walk-ons after COVID. They did away with it during COVID, and they have not brought it back since. I think that's a very interesting wrinkle into that whole thing. You look at J.J. Watt was a walk-on, wasn't he?
Sure.
As far as I know. And so
Baker Mayfield.
Some of those guys, they don't make it. Maybe I know personally people that ended up not pursuing football because they didn't make a walk-on program. So I don't necessarily disagree with Matt Rule, but I do think that his point about the transfer portal and that kind of watering down, I saw some comments about, Division II, Division III, NAIA, JUCO. This is going to increase the talent pool in those, and I would be curious to kind of see, in 2-3 years how that affects the 12-team playoff with an FBS school or like a Group 5 school just turning a ton of heads.
That's Indiana this year, though.
Exactly.
They went out and they did what everyone was saying, well, this is possible now. They went out and did it. So.
And they're 10-0.
They are. Big game this weekend, but I don't know. That game probably won't end up mattering just because Ohio State is going to be ranked high enough. And for whatever reason, quality losses are, I guess, now like a stat that the SEC wants to say is a big deal. Yeah, we have 3 losses, but they're all the top 25 teams. It's like you still have 3 losses.
Yeah.
So how are we going to rank that versus one loss, no conference championship bid, Indiana? Indiana should get in.
Got a lot of games left. Well, not a lot, but definitely enough to matter. Last year was a doomsday scenario for – go ahead.
I was just going to say, I thought that was you were ending it up for talking 25, but if anybody wants a good game, a sleeper game, I think Citadel-Clemson is going to be a big upset that we're going to see. The Citadel is notorious for upsetting high-ranked teams. Clemson's not ranked, but they're second in ACC, so just check it out if you ever get a chance. Continue, Marv, sorry.
No, you're good. I just think that I completely forgot what I was saying. But in general, we got a lot of games left. What did I say? We don't have too many games left. But in general, there could be some shifts. I don't even know where the fuck I was going with that. Let's just jump right into TTTTTLTH from the host himself.
Hey, yo!
I know he does have a few big things for us. I'm excited to see where this goes.
So I have, yes. So the first one is a strict trivia question directly for this year, okay? So 2024 NFL trivia, all right? And the second question is a straight up would you rather, but it's sports related and it's a debate, and I think it is fantastic. I got asked this today at work, and it sparked an hour-long conversation.
Okay, here we go. We'll try to keep it under an hour.
Yeah, exactly. Anyways, the first question is, there are 3 teams this year that have 6 primetime football games. Who are those 3 teams?
6?
There's
Chiefs.
No 3 teams. 3 teams.
3 teams that have 6
games.
Chiefs are
3
1.
teams that have. Chiefs are not 1.
Okay, so they only have 5. Giants.
Giants are not 1.
Cowboys.
Cowboys got to be 1.
Cowboys.
There you go. Cowboys are 1.
Chase, outside of Cowboys, who you got?
Jets.
These teams are top 6. you say Jets?
It could be the Jets. They have
There
a
you
lot
go.
that should
There you
not.
go,
So
sir.
Dallas, New York Jets, and then there's one we're missing.
Yes, pretty valuable team.
Ravens?
Valuable from a money standpoint?
I'm going to say Steelers.
Money standpoint. Not the Steelers, but I thought it was the Steelers too. It's not the Steelers.
Interesting. So
this team has not done much.
That's crazy, the way that things shake out
Bunch
like
of
that. Because
bad
neither
teams.
have the Jets or the Cowboys. I'm surprised the Chiefs aren't in that. They are.
I
they
mean,
must have 5.
they were supposed to do good.
Well, there's a lot of teams that are supposed to do good.
Dolphins.
Not the Bengals. Not the Dolphins.
I like
Browns,
the Bengals.
Raiders.
What about maybe
Niners.
Niners.
Niners. West Coast team.
Yeah, makes
Okay.
sense.
I thought the
West
W is for
Coast.
the Browns.
I feel like they haven't played
I
that
know,
many
so-
yet, though.
Not many
Yeah, we
yet.
just have
They
the
must have a come from
49ers,
type.
the 49ers, the Cowboys, and the Jets, all top 5, all in the top 5 for most valuable NFL teams. I think actually the Niners are number 6, but that's where they're standing, and that's why they got 6 primetime football games.
Okay, so here comes a conversation question then, totally
So
different.
this is a crazy question. Would you rather run a go or like a slant? I don't know how.
Oh,
Just-
I
you're-
saw this.
Okay, you're a receiver, right? You're catching a go route, but you have prime
Slant.
Ray Lewis
Slant. You're running a slant. You're going across the middle.
Exactly. You're going across the middle. You got prime Ray Lewis waiting there for you, and you're in 1920s leather helmets and pads. Would you rather experience that or get a side back kick from John Jones?
Is Derek Carr throwing the ball on the slant, or who's throwing it?
That's a great point.
You're catching it. You're catching it.
Okay.
It's definitely Ray Lewis.
It's Ray Lewis.
Gotta be
100%.
Ray.
I am
Jones
not.
could-
I no.
John Jones would rearrange your guts.
No.
I'm taking
Chase-
John Jones.
Chase,
John
you're
Jones would kill you.
Chase is not adequately putting enough emphasis on that. If John Jones took a spinning back kick to my rib cage, there'd be a hole that'd be the shape of John Jones' foot in my side. I'm not
I would
taking
rather gamble a liver laceration than take
No.
a unprotected hit from Ray Lewis in a helmet to my head. That
In a
just
leather
sounds
helmet.
like,
You're talking about like
He's getting the targeting call then. It doesn't matter. You're getting 15 yards.
dude,
is-
it's
what
Ray
is
Lewis.
he
He didn't
we-
have
what is
targeting
Ray
at that
Lewis
time.
wearing? Is he wearing a leather helmet?
No,
full
Ray Lewis is in full pads, helmet and pads,
And we're just in a leather helmet and no pads.
no pads, leather helmet, no pads. You're
Ray Lewis.
pretty much
Still
just
Ray
in
Lewis.
underwear when you go against John Jones.
Yeah.
What
You guys
rules?
are-
what era of rules? Because if it's
now.
like-
it's
You're not
different.
getting a targeting call.
90s.
Why the fuck would you care about a targeting call? You're dead on the fucking grass. That has no like that. No, that doesn't even matter.
There's no
it
recovery.
depends
you're gonna
on
get
what
it-
era. Because if it's today, he's gonna hit you in like the midsection and
Yep.
probably with his shoulder. But if it was like when he was playing in the mid 2000s, when they literally could launch with their head, you're gonna take a helmet from Ray Lewis to the head.
Say
So then you can't take that because you would die.
You would.
I still think that John Jones.
That's what you're doing.
That one is like a 85% chance of death.
Yeah. The if you go with today's rules, worst case scenario, you blow out a knee. I mean, he goes to your knee.
There's just a wider area of impact absorption.
Yeah, I think you have to take the chance that he won't go for your head,
Correct.
and he might go for the
I
pass.
agree.
I would
John
rather
Jones,
that.
that's like an 80% chance of death.
His goal is to kill
Liver
you.
laceration has a 52% survival rate.
But you're talking
So-
about like multiple broken ribs.
Ray Lewis's goal is to tackle you.
And
John
you can
Jones'
fix
goal is
that.
to kill you.
If Ray Lewis hits you in the head with a leather helmet on, you're not waking up from that. And if you are, you're not going to be the same person you were before you
So
went to
is
that
Ray
hit.
Lewis like
Who is
trying to
almost-
hurt you when he's hitting you, or is he just like
Ray
making a
Lewis is right.
football play?
It doesn't matter. Redbone, you're like probably
agree.
what?
It's way different
190?
if he hits you in the gut or if he hits you in the head.
I think I would
Way
rather.
different.
But the
He's hitting you in the
difference
gut. He's lighting you up, and you're going to be on a Here Comes the Boom edit.
Here's the difference. Here's the
You
difference.
take that.
I would take my chances that he doesn't hit my head
Correct.
over. I know John Jones is going to connect.
Break ribs.
Yeah, I'm not messing with that. That's not.
I would rather break my ribs and get a lacerated liver and go to the hospital and be fine than take a hit from Ray Lewis on a slant. That just
I
sounds like a death sentence.
I think a better question might be: could all four of us versus John Jones
No.
last 25 seconds in the ring.
Oh,
20, yeah. Come on, Chase could just run around.
Okay, 2.5 minutes.
No,
it's a lot of time.
We could last the second round. We could last 5 minutes.
No,
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Nope.
It's just one. It's like
I think he just grabs us one by one and chokes us out.
Chokes us out.
Fucking
Yeah.
What I'm thinking,
there's nothing we're going to be able to do. The three of us not being choked out either. Like
no,
we're gonna choke him out.
one of us just gets in a ball and curls up, and the other three get on top of him and just hug on like a meatball.
Yeah,
that's the worst. That's worse.
Yeah, but John
grab one of us one by one and choke us out.
Now he can't punch you in the back of the head, and then we'll just Khabib it, Get in there and just fuck.
We'd have to just like bull rush him and hope he's like slightly taken aback. Like
you can't bull rush John Jones.
We're gonna try to run away from him and prolong death.
Might as well try.
Bull rush him, I think. Maybe we split it.
It's like getting in a fight with a polar bear. You either have to kill it or it kills you.
Yeah, 2 of us bull rush, 2 of us flank him. So once he starts to try to kill the 2 that are coming at him, which he will probably successfully do, the other 2 can try to delay for the remaining minute and 20 seconds?
Probably about that.
I mean, yeah, I don't think either one's a good question, to be fair, because I think you're going to die in all 3 scenarios. But realistically, I think I'd rather try to last 2 minutes or whatever, whatever number we land on with John Jones, than knowing he's going to connect, knowing he will hit me.
He is going to connect in 2 minutes.
No, I understand that.
Multiple times.
But, like, in Hunter's scenario, his
even if Ray Lewis hits you in the chest, that's I would put that as the same amount of pressure as a kick from John Jones.
Right. And you have like, what's the odds you get commotional cordis from a typical football hit? 0.00004%. It's
in pads. You're not in pads.
No,
you're not in pads.
The way commotional cordis works, they have to hit you at a certain point in the heart rhythm. That's why it was so crazy that Damar Hamlin went down. Yeah. But what I'm saying is the odds on a normal football player are very, very low. The odds of Ray Lewis putting you into commotional cordis or arithmetic fucking failure basically is like ridiculously high, but I would rather take those odds than.
Hey, Stipe's manager came out and he said that he didn't have any adverse reactions and he didn't go to the hospital for any broken ribs or anything like that.
It's also completely fine.
Yeah, so now put me in there
for years.
Put me in there at 100 pounds less than Stipe, and I could probably get away with just three broken ribs. The floating rib would be a little hazy, but that's just where I stand on the issue. Obviously, tomorrow I hope Ray Lewis is available so you guys can run a slant route and go directly into him. And if John Jones was here, I'd have him punch me in the face and then kick me in the side, and then we'll see who lives.
I tell you what, I'm catching that slant ball though. That ball.
Oh yeah, out with the ball.
I'm eating that punch. Eating that punch.
All 3 of us are coming down with the first down, and Hunter's coming away with a bag. I think that's a fair way to look at it. I know this much for sure. Hunter definitely wouldn't survive the John Jones kick, and I don't know. Maybe one of us would probably survive the Ray Lewis hit.
Like Cole.
Just by chance. That being said, either way, I think the Ray Lewis is a great segue. Let's jump right into Handicap Hour. Ladies and gentlemen, this is airing on a Thursday morning, and guess what that means? There's football tonight. Let's jump right into it on Steelers-Browns in Cleveland, 7:15 p.m. I think the Steelers are good. I think the Browns are bad. I'm going to go ahead and go Steelers -4.5. I don't think they have that pull-away factor.
Yeah, I think that they've what they did to Baltimore was interesting. Mm-hmm. They just didn't score a touchdown, but they won.
Still won.
So that's interesting. The Steelers are always, even when they are good, they feel like they're the same iteration every time. There's the good Steelers, which is like really good defense, mediocre offense that sometimes does stuff, and it feels the same every year. I'm staying Steelers -9.5, a little heavier here because I do feel like after not scoring a touchdown last week, they'll score a couple this week.
Interesting.
So I'm saying 9.5.
I don't hate that. I guess I don't love that it's so much. But Chase, your thoughts?
Yeah, I got Steelers -6.5. Similar thoughts to Redden. The Saints put up 35 on the Browns this week, so I think the Steelers can probably at least win by 7. I think the Steelers are a better football team. Defense is really good. The Browns might not score a point, so I got Steelers -6.5.
Jameis still quarterback there, right, though?
Indeed.
I mean, you got to score at least when Jameis is at quarterback. Hunter, Hunter, any opinions on that game?
Yeah, it sounded like Chase is exactly right. I gotta make some moves in my fantasy to try to get Steelers defense. With that being said, I think the Browns are probably gonna win by a field goal. So give me
Final score of
the
what?
Browns.
3-0?
Give me the Browns 2.5. I'm gonna say 14-17.
Okay, interesting. Next up on our Sunday slate, starting the noon games off, we got Titans at Texans. Texans coming off a big win against Cowboys there. We'll get into that in a second. I think Texans win this one. I say 6.5. I don't think they're a very good team. I think the Cowboys are just really bad. There are a lot of flaws I saw from the Texans, and the Titans are officially horrible.
They're bad. They're bad. I'm saying Texans -5.5. Similar thought process. Texans are the better team, but they're just not quite, I think, what people maybe expected them to be able to do in C.J. Stroud's second year. But give me the Texans -5.5.
Okay, Chase, what do you think?
I got Texans -9.5. I think they beat them pretty good. Nico Collins was back last week. He's going to be back and better this week. I think he has a big game. I'm going to bet on it. -9.5.
Heyo.
Nico kind of sold my fantasy team. Hunter, any thoughts?
I like the Texans here too. I'm gonna go 7.5 though, a little bit tighter than Chase.
Fair enough. Next up, we got a divisional showdown between the Vikings and the Bears, who officially suck in every way sense of the word. I mean, I don't think the Vikings are that good, but I'll take them -5.5. I think it's a fair line. It'll probably be close because it's a divisional game, but outside of that, I don't think it's much else.
Yeah, this is the one game I picked the opposite of what I thought. I'm saying Bears -1.5.
Wow.
Vikings just aren't quite. They're just not quite there yet. They feel like a similar team to the Texans, kind of in a lot of ways. The Bears are a mess. Everything points to they should lose this game by like 3 scores.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a divisional game. There's just something about it. I think they're going to find a little bit of magic in all this mess, and then they'll probably lose out. But I'm saying Bears -1.5.
Okay, Chase, are you going which side of the ball are you going here?
I got the Vikings -6.5. Bears are bad. Vikings I think they're back on an upslope. They're going to get better as we go.
Bears are certainly historically bad. I think that's one way to put it. Hunter, as a fan of a historically bad team, any thoughts?
Yeah, I appreciate that, Marv. I'm going to take the historically bad team this time, and I'm going to get Bears 1.5. Same as Redbone.
There we go.
There we go. I don't know if I like that, but it is a great segue into Cowboys Commanders in Washington.
Fucking shit.
Give me the Commanders let's go 19.5. I'm going to take a Detroit line here. If you've watched any other shows from Marv on Air, if you haven't, go back and watch them. They're always electric.
Fuck
for sure.
you, dude.
But the Cowboys are like, their stadium's falling apart, literally. They're so bad. They won't put the curtains down. Instead, they decided to.
You don't know ball. You obviously do not know ball. That's fine.
Yeah, I mean,
if that's not knowing ball, I'll admit it.
This is another divisional game here. These are always normally played close, and just because it is a divisional game, things can get messy. Things can, the underdog seems to play a little bit better. So because of that, I'm taking the Commanders -13.5. I just think the Cowboys are terrible.
God damn it.
Even though it is a divisional game, that's the only thing keeping this from being probably just a forfeit by the team down there in Dallas. So I'm saying Commanders -13.5. This is just a disgusting, disgusting organization down there in Dallas.
Chase, go ahead, pile on if you'd like.
It's the most valuable organization in the world.
I'm staying on the same side of the ball as you guys. I got Commanders -10.5. I just think they'll probably blow them out. Cowboys suck. This could really backfire on us if the Cowboys somehow win this game, but I don't see that happening in any universe. So give me the Commanders.
You know why I'm okay with making the claim I have, and I'm sure Redden is as well as you are?
What's that?
Because the Cowboys have only led for 2 minutes and 36 seconds of game time. And the only time they led was on a opening drive field goal against the Detroit Lions that if I remember correctly, they lost in that game by like 100. So I'm totally okay with taking the Cowboys to lose by as much as I did. I'd probably rather push that up. I think Red makes a very good point. I think they have over 100 minutes of like losing by 20 plus points, and that's not I think that's a legitimate stat. Hunter, your thoughts on the hometown team being arguably one of the worst teams in the NFL this year?
All right. Well, I don't appreciate any of this slander. I don't appreciate any of this bullshit that you guys are saying, talking about how it's such a terrible organization. We're the most valuable team on the entire planet.
Let me say
that's not even country, that's planet. Real Madrid can suck my dick. What'd you say, Marv?
It's not slander if it's correct. Just throw that in there really quickly.
All right.
Stats
Well, it's
speak
a
for
great
themselves.
organization, and I think you guys completely miscalculated the Sun and Jerry World. Obviously, it didn't get timed right, okay? But that is such a huge advantage. The curtains are only meant for concerts. They're not meant for football. Football is supposed to be played in the sun. We can open up that stadium. We can, let
Well, you
everybody
can't
breathe.
actually.
You can't actually.
If you open
it's gonna
it,
fall
that's when
apart.
shit falls apart. I think that's actually pretty well known.
When you open up the stadium?
They tried to open it for their game against the Texans, and
it started
fell
falling.
apart.
Don't worry about that.
Steel fell from the sky.
We have not won. We have not won a game at home, and I think there's a reason for that, right?
They stuck.
I don't know.
They're horrible.
This game's away. This game is away. All right. I think this is a Cooper Rush legacy game that's going to shock the entire.
Give me
it's
Cooper
gonna shock
Rush.
The entire. Yeah, Cooper Rush is going to carry this entire game to victory. Jane Daniels, will see how fraudulent he is come Sunday, and we'll see Aubrey kick for maybe, 18 points, and he'll win this game by 3.
Aubrey might kick from 73 yards. Cowboys are incapable of getting into actual field goal range, so they just rely on the fact that their kicker has an absolute bazooka connected to his hip, and I'm a big fan of that. I do love the long kicks this year. It's too bad the Cowboys not only can't keep the roof intact, but the field is also slippery, and obviously he missed that 69-yard or whatever it was. That would have been really, really cool. He missed one. No, he made one, and then the Cowboys were like, no, we'll take the penalty, and then they ended up turning the ball over. That's Cowboys season in a nutshell. Let's move on. Next up, we got an AFC East showdown. Showdown's a strong word. Patriots, Dolphins.
Yeah, I love how you're talking all this shit when the fucking Patriots are the next game up. This is storybook. This is storybook.
Go ahead. Get it out.
No, I saw this on the last episode. I was driving down from Dallas down to San Antonio for work, and I heard all you guys talking about, Drake May is making a real good play for Rookie of the Year. Have you guys forgot about Jane Daniels or Bo Nix? Bo Nix is next up. And I don't know why Drake May is even in this entire conversation, and nobody brought him up in the last episode, and that shit pissed me off. But I will say this. Everybody in Boston is probably super depressed and wants to hang themselves, and I am surprised that you're not, Marv. And if you ever need someone to talk to about how much the Patriots suck, come talk to me, because I've been going through it for the past 4 weeks with the Cowboys.
Yeah, no, for sure. The Cowboys do suck, and we're not arguing that point. That's a certain fact at this point. I'll say this: the Patriots, one of the worst teams in the NFL, for sure. We deserve the one primetime game we had, and we deserve to play in London when nobody watched us. Okay, but guess what? 5 years down the road, when Drake May's winning back-to-back Super Bowls, because he's the best in the league, I'm going to look back on this and think fondly of calling it out as it is, because Drake May,
he'll be on the Raiders by that time. He will not be in Boston.
Maybe he doesn't win Rookie of the Year. Okay? Maybe he doesn't even win Offensive Player.
He doesn't stay with the Patriots. Maybe everything changes in 5 years.
That's fair.
But I'll tell you this.
Everything will
change. The Patriots will not have another ring for the next 10.
Everything will change because the Patriots will turn into another dynasty. We'll be back, and the Chiefs will be obsolete. Let that being said,
you had fun, brother. You had fun. The Cowboys had fun. Now just get ready for the next 20 years to just be absolute bullshit.
If we're anything like Cowboys, that certainly will happen, but I have faith that the Patriots will turn it around. Speaking of Sunday, I don't think they will. I think the Dolphins, win this. Let's take 12.5. I think that's a weird line, but a good one. What do you think, Red?
Yeah, similar thoughts. The Dolphins kind of feel like they're finally kind of getting healthy a little bit. They seem to be finding their stride a little bit more so. Patriots just not. Drake May looks fun. They're just not good.
Not good.
So Dolphins -6.5.
I'd have to agree with that. Chase, your thoughts?
I'm not going to lie. I really wanted to take the Patriots here after all that talk, just because I do think Drake May is good, but I can't do it to myself. I got the Dolphins -5.5. It's at their place. They're starting to kind of get their mojo back. They're on a 2-game win streak. I expect them to continue it. Just Drake May doesn't have anyone surrounding him, is what it comes down to. Yeah. Hey, they're rebuilding. Got something to be excited for, though.
Exactly. We're going to be back. Be honest with me, though. Did we lower your line? Did my speech lower it from maybe 6 or 7.5 down to 5.5?
No, it was 5.5 before the show.
I put in my best effort, is what it is. Hunter, without divulging too far from your main point, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, you said they're rebuilding, but I'm pretty sure they're just rebuilding like a Jenga tower that's ready to fall. And that's the only thing I can say about this entire organization. And I think the Dolphins are gonna win by 13.5.
Ridiculous. I completely disagree. One, I think this is a take I think a lot of you guys will disagree with me on. Chiefs at the Panthers. Very, very notable here. Did you hear how I said Chiefs at Panthers? Give me the Panthers minus 5.5. What do you think, Red?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's just wrong. I'm going to say Chiefs minus 12.5 because they're the Chiefs. And the team they're playing is the Panthers.
Yep.
So I'm going to take the Chiefs minus 12.5.
If there's any week that the Chiefs lose to the Panthers, it's this one, coming off that loss to the Bills. I don't think they look good, and I think that the Bills
When was the last time the Chiefs lost 2 games in a row?
When was the last time the Chiefs lost a fucking game outside of last week? It was like week 11 of last year?
I think it was 2023.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. They are unreal right now. I obviously understand that, but I do think that the Bills kind of accentuated the mistakes that the Chiefs have been making that people have been talking about. Maybe the Panthers copy that code and are able to get it done. That being said, they also suck. I'm not going to be completely delusional here. I just think Bryce Young is the chosen one potentially, and he's able to take down the current throne that is Patrick Mahomes. Chase, do you have the Panthers here? I hope so.
Absolutely not.
All right.
I got – where's that? I got the Chiefs minus 13.5. I think they respond after last week. They're typically not a team. What?
That's a crazy thing to say.
I thought you meant like respawn, like they no respond. RESPOND. Yes, so correct.
Indeed.
Oh, no, that's on me. That's on me. Go ahead.
It's all right. But the Panthers are really bad. Chiefs don't typically have that pull away power, just because they like to keep games close. But it's the Panthers, so.
How sick would it be if the Panthers' offense and defense are completely horrid, absolutely obsolete in this game, but the Chiefs are unable to like score more than 6 points than their opponent, and it comes down to a special teams play, and the Panthers win?
I'd love it.
Awesome.
I would be
I'd
all
love
over
it.
it.
I would absolutely love that.
Yep.
Hunter, are you on the Panthers side?
Oh, hell yeah, I'm on the Panthers side. The Chiefs are on the downslope. Chiefs are probably one of the worst teams in the nation right now after losing to Buffalo.
Absolutely.
You know, it's just that's just how it works. And I think the Panthers are going to win by a field goal. Probably, if it's a Chiefs loss, it's going to be in overtime. So give me the Panthers minus 2.5 in overtime with a field goal.
Okay, 7 games to go, 2 left in the noon slate. Obviously, they always load that noon slate. The 3 o'clock slate, not quite as good. That being said, this game's not much better. Buccaneers at Giants. Tommy DeVito starting for the Giants. Drew Lock also confused why he is. Nobody knows what's going on in the Giants organization. It's kind of one of those things like we talked about off air. The Jets have been cursed without actually having a curse. They just are incapable of being good. I don't know what their problem is. Kind of the same thing applies to the Giants. For real. And the Buccaneers, pretty injured. I'm going to take the Buccaneers minus 7.5 here, but I don't know. Maybe with a new quarterback in there, they do better. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm saying I initially would have had it around the same thing, but then I remembered that Tommy Cutlets DeVito was playing, and I'm like, he's going to keep it closer, keep it interesting. So I'm taking the Bucs minus 1.5 instead of the usual 6.5 here.
Okay, fair enough. Chase?
I got the Bucs minus 13.5.
Okay.
Giants are bad, and DeVito makes them no better. So,
yeah, I don't know what.
I think this is where the DeVito Linsanity starts. I think this is where we start. You know, we start getting some clicks on Instagram. We start seeing the clips. Tommy DeVito, he does it again. We love it. We love it, Italiana. I think the Giants are going to win for absolutely no reason other than Tommy DeVito. Even though you think Tommy DeVito won't help him, Chase, I think he will for ratings, and I think the NFL's scripted. Give me the Giants 4.5.
Okay, that's a bold claim there. I don't necessarily hate the resurgence after a quarterback change as much as the Giants do suck. I've heard the players around the Giants organization saying that they're unsure of and a little bit upset by the change. But either way, it'll be a change of pace. I think that they could bounce back. These last couple games, outside of maybe one, I think they'll be pretty one-sided and pretty quick. Let's blow through these. Lions at Colts. I've got the Lions 1.5 Learned my lesson last week, yet again. I'm going to take the Lions minus 37.5.
Yeah, I also I took them minus 23.5 last week, and I found that also was not quite enough. So I'm going to say Lions minus 29.5 here.
It's ridiculous, but it's also like we probably won't even be off. We probably won't even be off by that many.
We probably didn't take them by enough.
Yeah, what do you think?
I thought I went big. I went 20.5. It's the Lions. The Colts are not great, so they're gonna win by a lot probably, but
like a lot.
Yeah, I almost said imagine an AR just like show out game, but no, the Lions are definitely winning by double digits. Absolutely,
probably gonna have like multiple pick sixes, and Jared Goff's gonna throw for 600 yards.
Put it this way, Lions will make the Colts look like the Cowboys have looked every single week. Cowboys fan himself, Hunter, what do you think?
26.5. Meet y'all in the middle.
Yep, that's what I thought.
Not much else.
Cowboys suck. Next up, we got Broncos at Raiders, AFC West showdown. Give me the Broncos minus 6.5 here. I think the Raiders like the games keep games close. But I think the Broncos are definitely the better team here, and I think they'll pull away.
Yeah, the Raiders just are not very good this year. I was really, really early on the Bo Nix hype train,
for sure,
dating back to before he was even drafted by the Broncos, before he even had Sean Payton.
Before
I was
he
very
was
high on him.
Even in college, I think you were on him.
Well, he was in college when I was in like 3rd grade. The guy was in college
enough.
for like 17 years.
I thought I remembered a kindergarten roundup where you were like, look out for Bo Nix. But anyways,
I do remember that.
My apologies anyways.
But one way or the other, give me the Broncos minus 13.5. They have a pretty good defense. Sean Payton's been doing a very good job coaching out there, so Broncos 13.5.
Former Saints coach, Sean Payton. Saints fan, Chase Malloy. It's like a Venn diagram. Chase, who do you got?
I got Broncos minus 3.5. They're probably gonna win by more, but I just took it to be safe. 3.5.
Okay, because that's the point of this, being safe.
Yeah, that's exactly what we do. I just took the Lions minus 34 or whatever that was. Hunter, your thoughts? You were pretty high on Bo Nix when you were shit talking Drake May, so let's back it up.
Well, yeah, I will if Brock Bowers wasn't on the other side of the ball.
Dog.
So just give me Bo Nix and the Broncos 6.5. Just one touchdown. That's all we need.
Okay, last good remaining game in my opinion, and it's one of the last 3 games in the 3 o'clock slate. I guess one of the last doesn't make much sense there, but either way, Cardinals at Seahawks. I do think both of these teams, I'll say they're better than I expected. That being said, the Seahawks kind of had higher expectations than the Cardinals, so I think the Cardinals have been outperforming, and I'll kind of go off that, kind of that line there, and I'll keep sticking with Bo Brock. I'll stick with Hunter here.
Yeah.
Give me the Cardinals minus 2.5. I don't know though. I mean, Seahawks are good.
Yeah, I pretty much had the exact same reasoning as you. Cardinals, for whatever reason, are winning some games here and there, and Seahawks are just kind of meh.
Yeah.
So Cardinals 4.5.
I don't know why, but ever since Hunter started riding with Bo Brock, Cardinals seem to win more than they don't. Chase, your thoughts?
That's how it works.
I'm opposite side of the ball. I got the Seahawks minus 1.5 at home. 12th man has been called out. They got to perform 1.5.
Call Bo. Patch Bo into the call.
Okay.
Hunter, you riding with Bo Brock? Hell yeah, I'm riding with Bo Brock. Cardinals have won the last 4 games. Why would I? Now they're on a 4-game win streak. This is insanity. With that being said, I don't want to jinx them. Nah, fuck it. Give me the Cardinals 4.5.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough. Next up, we have 49ers at Packers. Packers coming off of that huge. I mean, realistically, that was huge. That was absolutely huge. There's no other word for it. Win over the Bears. Give me the Packers minus, let's go 4.5. I just don't think the 49ers are quite up to speed yet, but maybe they get figured out. I just think the Packers are actually pretty solid.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those things where it's like in the postseason, again, I can't, and this is going to be my downfall, the 49ers and as well as Cincinnati, just because in my head, I'm like, these are playoff teams. Why are they not winning football games? They should be in the playoff. So I'm going to say 49ers minus 2.5 here because this feels like they're starting to approach kind of like must-win territory. They're only like 2-3 weeks behind Cincinnati right now in terms of like, oh, they actually probably aren't going to make the playoffs. So this is one of those games that they need. So just because of that, I'm going to say Niners minus 2.5.
Well, and also
Jordan Love throws a lot of interceptions.
He does. And also another wrinkle here. Think about Nick Bosa and what happened 15 days ago. I mean, time of this recording, 16 days ago from the episode air. That's all I got to say. Chase, what do we think?
I got the Niners minus 2.5. Same as Bone. Same thought process. It's kind of a must-win. Go into their place.
They finally have
go in their trap. Take over the trap.
That's big.
McCaffrey's back for a second week. Big game out of him.
Okay,
shit won't matter.
Shit
will not matter. The Packers are on the come up. I think they turn it on, sort of around, like this late halfway through the season. They're like, you know what? Actually, we can win football games, and nobody expected us to. And I think that's where they'll start it now, as the 49ers, but just by a field goal. Give me the Packers 2.5.
Okay. Sunday Night Football, Eagles at Rams. This game might low-key suck, but I do think the Eagles are back on track. I just realistically, this could kind of be a bit of a shitter. I'll take the Eagles, but I'll take them by 4.5. I expect a field goal win, but I wouldn't be surprised if it ends up being like they lead by 6.
Yep.
It's like a weird situation, something like that.
Yeah, I kind of was around the exact same line of thinking. I think the Eagles are definitely the better team here. It is in prime time. Eagles historically don't do great in prime time. It feels like, I have no data behind that, just like general vibes. It feels like they always lose in big spots. Sunday Night Football, obviously a big spot. So I'm going to say Eagles minus 7.5. I initially had it down at 3.5, but then I was like, backdoor. I feel like they might pick up a field goal at the end of the game. 7.5.
Okay. Interesting. Chase, what do you think?
I got the Eagles minus 2.5. Pretty similar thought process. It'll be close, I think. Rams are looking better with Puka and Coop back. So, but that Eagles defense is legit.
Yep.
So,
Very
2.5.
good. Very good. I'm sure you're pumped up with DeJean back there, huh?
Yeah, he's fun to watch. He's actually really good, believe it or not.
He's our Jackie Robinson
yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, big heads up player, right, Chase?
Plays
What's
game
that?
right
Kind of guy you want to date your daughter. The way I would put it is, I would say that the Rams with Stafford, I think we're going to see his teeth smiling at the end of the game with a post-game interview. I can see the Rams beating this for no other reason than to see that shot. I don't think they're going to be interviewing Barkley or Jalen unless they go absolutely ape shit and win by like 30, which will probably happen because I'm always wrong in my bets. But it's just for shits. Give me the Rams 6.5.
Just for shits. I don't mind that. Guess what the opposite of shit is? Harbaugh Bowl. Monday
Piss.
night.
Harbaugh.
Oh,
Ravens at Chargers. John
chess match.
and Jim Harbaugh facing it off. Is this the first time they've played since the Super Bowl?
It is.
I think so.
I was there.
How are we going to bet on Harbaugh here?
Yeah, so this is one of those where normally we always just bet on Harbaugh. Here we have 2 of them.
Yeah,
and
tough.
each of them come to the table with kind of a different weapon. John Harbaugh has Lamar Jackson and just a juggernaut of an offense over there in Baltimore. Jim Harbaugh has an incredible, incredible defense out in LA. So it's kind of like a unstoppable object meets an immovable force.
Kind of.
Yep.
Yeah, it's what
exactly
you meant.
that.
Yeah, for sure.
And so it's really, I don't know what's going to happen here. I'm saying Ravens minus 8.5 just because if the game last week went differently for them, then I would see this game being a little bit tighter. But I just don't see the Ravens offense struggling essentially in back-to-back weeks against 2 of arguably the better defenses in the NFL, and the Steelers and the Chargers. But I just don't think that you're going to be able to keep the Ravens' offense out of the end zone essentially the way the Steelers did. So I feel like they're going to at least get 28 points, and I don't think the Chargers can keep up with them.
A little bit of a bounce-back game. The Ravens obviously have the better offense. I don't think that's what anybody's questioning. It really comes down to the defense. I'm going to take the Ravens minus 9.5. I think the Ravens are the better team, up and down. Nothing against, Harbaugh. Harbaugh's Harbaugh.
We love him.
We love him. Through and through.
This is Lamar Jackson.
It is. And Derrick Henry as well. So, Chase, your thoughts?
And Nelson Aguilar.
Yes.
Chargers minus 2.5. Upset, baby.
Wow.
At the Chargers place, Jim's fired up.
Jim is that's the one.
like
He's got to beat John. He wants it bad. I think he just wants a little more. Give me 2.5 Chargers. Game-winning field goal.
See, the problem is, though, he just won a national championship. Yeah. So I think this is going to be John's time. Like, it's right before all the holidays. I think he's going to be like, yeah, you might have got one down in college, but when you come up here to the big leagues, we all know who's still in charge.
That's exactly what I was about to say. I think Jim's thinking, or John is thinking, oh, this guy can't win in the big leagues. You won a ring in college. That doesn't matter at all. He's like, I got the big Papa ring out here with my Super Bowl. He's like, I'll put it on my middle finger and show you what's up. So with that being said, I think the Chargers are going to take this one. And like, I think, yeah, same with you, Chase. Last minute field goal by Dicker. Boom. 3 more points for Hunter's fantasy. It's good. And that's how it's going to go. That's why the cookie will crumble. 2.5 Chargers.
Okay, fair enough. That wraps up our NFL slate for the weekend as things do kind of heat up for the playoffs here. Things are starting to shape up. We're starting to see who's where, what could potentially happen with wins and losses left and right, obviously up and down also in play there. I would love to see a couple upsets this weekend, but maybe things go chalk. I don't know. You don't know. I know one thing for sure. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch. That is an undisputable fact. Let's jump right into Zero to Hero, ladies and gentlemen. Let's start bottom right. Chase, what do you think?
We want 0 here?
Go ahead. Go with 0. We got to lead off into the weekend with the hero, of course. What are you kidding me?
Yeah, my 0 is Daniel Jones. He has been benched and is now the 4th string. Didn't just downgrade him to 2nd string. Give him the 4th string. He's not going to see the field again. I think they're probably just trying to save some trade value or something for him. They're probably going to pawn him off for picks after the season. They don't think he's the guy. I don't know where his value's at. Probably not very high. Might get a 6th or 7th out of him. People
no
probably
way.
think he's still a 6th or 7th round pick. Come on. He's a quarterback that had a decent year.
He could go for 2 to a bad franchise. Browns.
Maybe like the Panthers or something. Who knows?
Maybe.
Yeah.
He goes to die at the Panthers, but that poor guy, Daniel Jones, is taking a lot of heat right now.
Vegas will pick him up.
He's a 0.
Interesting. It's a bit of a question. Who has more value right now, Daniel Jones or Dak Prescott? That being said, Cowboys fan Hunter, who's your 0 for the week?
My 0 is Northwestern. I just saw a thing that they're building a $845 million stadium.
A little behind on that one for sure, but yeah.
Yeah, no, I saw a rendering that today. I think it's legit. I'm pretty sure it is. I saw a headline of it. But how dumb do you have to be? This is so I thought Northwestern was up there in Big Ten education, right? I thought Northwestern was the school that you would praise if your kid said, Dad, I'm going to a Big Ten school. Oh, really? I'm going to Nebraska. Okay, don't talk to me. I'm not paying for that shit. But it say he goes to Northwestern, and then you're like, wow, okay, that's a good school. That's a smart school. But they're putting $845 million into a stadium for a fan base that's probably smaller than the Williamsburg Raiders. Makes no sense to me. It says it's going to be the biggest stadium in all of college football, and it's like, bro, this is Northwestern. Like this stadium, like, I don't even know where it belongs because it's bigger than the Big House. Where the hell are you going to put such a high-tech facility like that and just have it for no reason? Because I don't even know if colleges can rent it out to concerts. I don't know if they can make money off of those fees of other people hosting in it. Throw Monster Jam in it. Nobody has any idea. I don't know how this stuff works, but I just think it's a completely idiotic move by Northwestern and their entire athletic staff.
Interesting. What do you think of that, Red? I know you're a big fan of their new stadium.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of their stadium they have right there on Lake Michigan with Northwestern.
Yeah, it's perfect. Okay. And they can't even feel that thing. Ridiculous.
I don't know why they would even build the new one. Like, just
keep going.
It's sick. It's right there. Yeah. The Wisconsin coach was able to jump in after the game. Like, that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the one they're rocking right now. Hunter, I went 3-box here for a reason, of course. My 0 for the week. Okay. There is
Nebraska?
Per some reports, Deion would 100% accept Cowboys' job if they draft Sanders. This is Michael Irvin on if Deion Sanders could accept potential Cowboys' job. 100%, and I can tell you, good sources have told me that. Great sources have told me that. What are the Cowboys doing? Are they intentionally lighting off TNT in the base of that? What the hell?
I mean, I thought we were tanking for J&T. I didn't think we were tanking for Shador. That just sounds terrible in my opinion.
Tank for
especially
Shador,
like a a little daddy-daughter combo for QB and coach. Like
that
this
sounds like
just
a
sounds
terrible idea.
They probably have to trade up as well.
Jerry Jones might be senile enough to do it too.
He might.
I would love Primetime to be our coach. I think that would be sick. I mean, yeah, no, I don't know. That's just completely insane to me that we're even thinking about taking Shador top 5 because I think we're projected at 7 right now or something like that, maybe 6. It's not looking good, but if we get a pickup that high, we cannot waste it. And I think we should get a quarterback, but I don't know if Shador's the guy.
I do think this. Let's say the Cowboys win 2 more games that they're not supposed to. They end up at, let's just say they win as many games as they have to be at the 20 spot. I think that Jerry Jones will trade his left leg to whatever spot Shador is, like wherever he needs to be, just to get him and to bring in Dion for ticket sales. I think it'll happen. After seeing that, I really do kind of think Jerry will make that move as much as it would probably blow up the sports world.
I don't think you're completely wrong on that. I think the Cowboys could be 2-16 and still bring in $600 million a year. It will not matter the record. It doesn't matter who we bring in. It won't care for ticket sales. They sell out every single game. None of that shit matters. We're not like the Panthers. Like if we're a shitty franchise, like everybody will still fill the stadium. Go Cowboys, go. Yeah, we love the Cowboys.
It's our year.
That's just how it works. Yeah, it's our year. It's our year. And it's like, bro, we're fucking, we're like 3-8. And it's not our year. Like, oh, next year, go Cowboys, go Cowboys. I don't think he's going to do it for ticket sales. I just think he's going to do it because Deion Sanders was the best in the league at the time when he played for the Cowboys.
Valid. Hunter, Redden. Who is your 0?
My 0 of the week is whoever gets Paul Skeens' autographed rookie 1/1 card.
Okay.
Because the deal the Pirates are offering is terrible.
Okay, break it down for me.
So Paul Skeens, best pitcher arguably in baseball, just won Rookie of the Year. He wasn't very excited. I don't know if you guys saw that video. Was not excited to win Rookie of the Year. Didn't care. But
wants championships.
The Pirates, there's this card now in circulation that is supposedly very, very high value just because they think he's going to be incredible. So the Pirates want to get this card, probably for like their own personal like museum there at the stadium or whatever they have. Mm-hmm. So the Pirates offer for whoever gets this Paul Skeens card is 2 Pirates season tickets behind home plate for the next 30 years, a softball game at PNC Park, like with you and 30 of your friends at the Pirates home stadium. Mm-hmm. And then you get a spring training experience that includes like tours, meet and greets, autographed jerseys, and you get to take batting practice with the team at a spring training game. So that would be sick. But when you realize that, okay, I have to have season tickets to the Pirates for 30 years.
You got to live in Pittsburgh. That just sounds fucking terrible.
Because you're going to be able to sell this card for probably somewhere around $2 million.
That's what
Would you rather have $2 million or have to live in Pittsburgh and attend Pirates games? Like, that's kind of the thing here. So my loser of the week is whoever at the Pirates organization thought that this was a good deal and people would actually be excited about it.
Seems like it's a bit of a...
Oh, I thought you were saying the loser was the winner. I was like, damn, that kind of sounds...
Yeah, the loser is the winner. But like,
kind of the winner.
Just don't take the Pirates offer. Sell the card to whoever
anybody
for multiple millions of dollars.
Seems like it's a bit of a reoccurring theme here with teams kind of offering up just nothing.
Yeah, literally nothing.
And I don't think
but this was
that is not come on, guys, that's not nothing. That's insane for an MLB team to give away home plate season tickets for 30 years.
I was going to say,
even though it's the Pirates, if you were born in Pittsburgh, that is your life goal to get something like that. If they offered me that for the Rangers, I would take it.
It's not,
and I'd be there every game.
It's not
30
not the
years
Pittsburgh.
Is a long time.
It's not the Pirates' fault that that's a bad offer. It's because the Pirates suck. And they're in Pittsburgh. It's not their fault, but it is kind of a shit offer. I did see Olivia Dunn sweeten.
Yeah, if this was Yankees, it would be half the season.
Oh yeah, no, I did see. Olivia Dunn said that whoever turns in the card can sit with her in a suite for a game. So.
Whoa, dude.
Maybe that sweetens it up. Maybe you get 2.5.
They can have the card. They can have the card.
They did say that this is projected the value of like $1.2 million.
Yeah.
So the Pirates kind of already set the market at 1.2. So reselling that thing online is going to be at least $2 million.
I think 2 is a minimum. I was closer to 2.5 before you even said 2. Chase, who's your hero this week? I would assume probably whoever gets the $2.5 million.
No. It does have to do with money a little bit, but Kurt Signetti signed an extension with the Indiana Hoosiers for 8 years, $72 million at $9 million a year. Good for him. He turned this 9-3 team into 10-0. You can say what you want about schedule strength, but at the end of the day, it's 10-0. They're buying into him. He's obviously a good coach because it is hard to win games in the Big Ten, whether it's against the bottom teams or not. So,
okay,
it is. It just straight up is. And they went from 3-9 last year to 10-0 this year.
Yep. Okay.
So, I mean, the man got paid. He's going to be there for a while unless they decide to pay him out and get someone else. I don't see that happening necessarily. Maybe a couple years down the road, but good for him getting paid.
He's my hero for absolutely fleecing the athletic director there, because that's just wild. I mean, I would sign him too. I mean, if our team is undefeated, like obviously I'm going to pay the guy, but still, I mean, you haven't played any fucking team.
Small sample size, but
smart of him to sign it before the Ohio State game.
Very smart.
Pretty
dumb
very
of them
smart
to offer it before the Ohio State game, if you ask me. But I mean, hey, he got turned around real quick and obviously got that bag. Is that your actual hero then, Hunter?
Oh no, my hero is the ring girl from the Jake Paul Mike Tyson fight.
Jesus.
This girl has gained like 500,000 followers since that fight. Great marketing on her part. Obviously, if I had tits and blonde hair, I would be up there too, but I don't. And so sadly, all I can do is just stare at hers and keep checking her Instagram bio to see if she made an OnlyFans. She has not. I checked 10 minutes ago. But as of right now, we're looking good. We're looking good, guys. And she's my hero. And hopefully, if she makes an OnlyFans, she'll be my hero for the rest of the year.
Interesting. Yeah, certainly your hair color is holding you back. My hero this week is going to be Kennesaw State, offering up the head coaching position, not just to head coaches. No. To anybody that has an Indeed profile. They just said, hey, anybody with any sort of qualification can apply here. I don't need a whole lot said. I just think that's hilarious that they ended up offering it up as a normal job, as like, I'm literally about to graduate, and I'm like, where should I work? Let's go on Indeed.
They also
let's go on Indeed. Oh,
wonder if Kurt Ritchie's resume is in that stack.
If he's in there, I mean, realistically,
when Iowa fired Brian Ferentz, because these are like public universities, they do have to publicly list the job. It can't just be like, we have a guy. So technically, every job does have to be publicly listed, even though there's not like a real interview process like that. So when the Iowa offensive coordinator position opened up, I did apply. Got rejected, but
damn,
I'm sure they're regretting that right now.
I'll say this much.
Redbone, you would have been my top pick.
Yeah, agreed.
Caden would be leading the nation, at least in touches. I don't know about anything else, but at least in touches.
Yeah, I don't know if he'd be sending him up the C gap. That'd be a dicey call. One of our guests.
Yeah, I don't understand it. I play Extreme on Retro Bowl, and I've taken the Cowboys to the Super Bowl for like 7 seasons in a row now in the past 2 weeks. Why am I not coaching?
Agreed. You'd definitely be better than McCarthy. That is a fact of the matter. That being said, Red, our last hero this week, send us off into the weekend with just vibes unknown to mankind, if you want to quote a Harbaugh there with our Monday night game. Obviously, that'll happen before we're back, potentially next week. If not, an absolute banger of a video is dropping. You're going to want to turn on notifications for that. Trust me. This is next level. You're going to want to be in early on that one. That being said, Red, what do we got?
Yeah, my hero of the week is none other than the troops. Army and Navy have now both unveiled their uniforms for the Army-Navy game, and both uniforms are incredible.
Yeah.
Normally, both teams, universities, academies,
Go,
branches of
Army.
military, whatever you want to call it, absolutely knock it out of the park for the uniform for this game. They always have like a story behind the uniform as well, and they release that, and that's always cool to read about. The Navy's uniforms are themed after the Jolly Rogers, which were like an aircraft squadron in World War II. Dope name, by the way.
Yeah.
And then Army, they themed their uniforms after the 101st Airborne Division, who fought in World War II as well. They were involved in the Battle of the Bulge, the Siege of Bastogne, all these things. Famously, a battle that happened in the winter. This game was played December 13th. They kind of had a little homage to that. So overall, my hero of the week is the troops having incredible uniforms for football as well.
I couldn't have picked a better.
These Jolly Rogers look like pirates. Like, this is fucking awesome. I'm looking at them right now. This is the coolest shit I've ever seen. I want to get this on a mask or like a mannequin and just put it in the corner of my room.
Yeah, no, they are next level. That is for sure. And that's what the American troops bring to the world as a whole. That is, I mean, that's unrivaled. It is what it is.
Armies are incredible.
Yeah, they are very, very good. They came across my timeline, and I'm glad you brought that up because they are just unrivaled. That being said, you know who else is unrivaled? You. The fact that you made it to this point in the episode, we couldn't thank you enough. That being said, don't know for sure if we'll have an episode next week. You'll have to stick around and find out. But if we don't, we will certainly have one of the best videos of all time dropping. So make sure to look out for that. We'll see you next time we are recording. Go football, go basketball, go hockey, go no, not baseball.
Lions minus 7.5's a lock, by the way.
Go
watch
minus 7.
Watch Citadel Clemson. Citadel Clemson.
I don't know about that. Absolute lock. Red. Close us out.